Hi, my name is Matthew Connelly. I'm a professor of history, and I'm also the Vice Dean for AI Initiatives, and I teach contemporary civilization. So I think of my section of contemporary civilization as one that is AI aware. And what that means is I'm trying to make sure that my students, when they're using AI, they're doing it in ways that are helping them to learn. Really, the whole point of contemporary civilization is to get our students, to get all of us, thinking about really big questions. What is the good life? What is justice? And no two of us are going to have the same answer. So if our students are just using AI and summarizing their readings, and even worse, if they're using AI to generate their papers, then nobody's going to learn anything. Teaching contemporary civilization in this new age of AI, I could start to figure out ways in which they might use AI in ways that might actually augment what they're learning and help them think about themselves and think about the world in new ways. I wanted to give them, not just ways of using AI critically, effectively, ethically, but also ways in which they can think about AI in the context of our civilization. So that's why I realized that I had to redesign the course, at least in terms of the kinds of assignments, the way I would assess them, in a way that I would capture and try to convey what's really special about this course. It's never a good idea to have students just submit a paper at the end of the semester and make, half or more of the grade, depend on that one assignment. And so we're going back to what we should have always done. That is that we scaffold these assignments. We have students first, propose a topic and make it low stakes, especially in this case, because I did tell my students they could write about anything they wanted to. And so after they've done their topic descriptions, they made their proposals, they found sources, then I asked them to write a literature review. So in my course, I actually encourage my students, to use AI to do their research, and then I try to guide them in ways that they can use it in ways that it's unlikely to hallucinate, it's more likely to give them, real access, to the best, peer-reviewed research in their field. I have them doing all this work in the same Google Doc. And so I can actually see in many cases how it is that they're writing these papers, how they're editing them. And so I'm much more hands-on now, and I'm learning a lot more about my students than I would have in the past. One thing I did was I opened up an anonymous survey, and I'm running it throughout the semester, where my students can tell me what they really think. And so I asked for feedback on my assignments. I asked for feedback on our discussions. And I'm finding so far the students are actually on board. They actually appreciate the ways in which I've made it harder for students to misuse AI in my classes. And so I'm finding that the students actually understand this critical distinction. The fact that in an AI-aware course, it means in some cases we're using AI in ways that augment learning and achieve our learning goals. Generative AI is a generational challenge for higher education. And as an educator, I don't feel that I can't be learning now. I have to be trying new things. So I understand those who might hesitate. It can seem really daunting. Where do you begin? If you want to make your course more AI aware. But there are a lot of resources out there. When I began, for instance, I went to a workshop at CTL and I found out what my colleagues were doing. I talked to friends of mine. I tried to find out what they were doing. But maybe most importantly, I checked in with my students. And one of the first things you find out is that students are curious. They think of it, and I think they're right, that this is one of the most exciting but scary things that's happening in the world right now. And they're looking to their faculty, looking to teachers to help them, figure it out. And so I think we can all figure it out together.